the next governor of this state has got to be someone who builds upon what Governor Bredesen, the foundation he has laid. He's been to China twice now. If you look back at history, there have been a succession of governors who have helped develop a relationship with the country of Japan. My father is one of them. There are over 40,000 good-paying jobs in the state of Tennessee that have resulted from that relationship. I believe Governor Bredesen has been a visionary in going to China for these last 2 trips. I heard him recently say he will probably not realize or see the direct involvement in Tennessee from that. But the next governor is someone who's got to take that foundation and build upon it and bring those investments into our state. I also think, frankly, the country of India is one that we should be looking at to help recruit industry into our state. And lastly, let me also talk just a moment about education. You know, I don't think we can ever back up on the standards we've set in education, raising those standards. We have got to maintain education as a priority in any budgetary process going forward. And we've got to encourage our higher ed institutes to graduate kids faster and at a lower cost. I wanted to share with you sort of what my priorities are and what I want to do as governor. I know pulling together this state can succeed. I truly believe that the sky is not falling, that we've been through some tough times before, and we will get through these again. But it's only because of our spirit as Tennesseans that we are able to do that. And I want to conclude by going back to what I alluded to earlier. Because I think it illustrates the kind of people who live in Tennessee. And it happened right here in Oak Ridge, and it happened at this meeting. Billy Stayer had told me when I came to y'all's meeting before, Mike, you can't be late. We've had a couple of people who've been late. You can't be late. And I said, Billy, I won't be late. I'm pretty good about being on time. And so I got up very early. Many of y'all may know I like to run. So like this morning, I got up to go run before daylight, and I headed out on my run. As I came back, I realized somewhere between the guard towers at Wackenhut that I was not on the right track. I had this really and I saw this office building off to the side, and there was one light, still dark, there's one light on out there. And I went in, and I found this gentleman sitting behind his desk. His name is Tim Lee. He's on South Illinois Street. I can run to his office. And I walked in, I said, can you tell me how far it is to my hotel? And he had a map of Oak Ridge right there, and he said, yeah, you're here. Your hotel's over here. Well, I got to tell you, that hotel might as well have been in Union City for my chances of being back on time. And I knew Billy was going to be all over me if I was late. And I just looked at him and I said, is there any possibility that you would run me back over to my hotel? And he looked at me pretty hard for about, I don't know, 30 seconds. And he said, yeah, you know, I guess I can. And he got up, and he got his keys, he locked his front door, and he threw me in his pickup truck, and we hauled out from my hotel. I got over there, and of course, I was looking pretty rough, because I'd been running for an hour at that point in time, trying to figure out where I was. And I got out, and I said, thank you. I can't believe how kind you've been to bring me back to the hotel. But gosh, you know, I'm a total stranger. I can't believe you did this. And I promise you, every time I do all my speeches, I tell this story, I still get a tingle down my spine when I tell you. He looked me straight in the eye and he said, son, this is Tennessee. It's what neighbors do. Now, I got got over here on time because of that gentleman's kindness, and looking much more presentable, I went back by his office on the way out of town. He's a geologist, and he had already gone out in the field for the day, so I missed seeing him. I'm going back over there today. And I tell this story because we never discussed politics on that ride over to the hotel. I don't know if he's a Democrat or Republican or if he has strong political beliefs. But what I instinctively know about that gentleman is that he wants his next governor to be someone who is honest. He wants his next governor to be someone who is competent to the task. And he wants his next governor to be someone who will be truthful with him, whether it is good or bad. If I can get y'all's help and get elected, that's what we're going to provide. Thank y'all for letting me be here.
So Mike, you'll take a few questions?
I will.
I'm sure that people would like to ask questions.
I've got, well, you mentioned economic development. Mike, are you aware of the economic impact that the cleanup of DOE facilities in Oak Ridge has had on Oak Ridge and the region, and do you have any comments on that?
I am very aware of that. You know, that cleanup operation, I think my years are right, started in 1991. And it started under my father's administration, and while he was a major advocate for that cleanup operation, I'm aware that it has not fully been completed. And I'm also aware that it is a huge impediment to economic development in this region. Oak Ridge is an economic engine for East Tennessee. There is no question about it. And as governor, I will be a major advocate to work with the Department of Energy to make sure that we get that program completed, because we've got to have that for Oak Ridge, for East Tennessee, in order to be able to continue to develop the economic development around here. So yes, I will be a major advocate for that. Mike?
Mike, this room, Republican and Democrats, think Governor Bredesen did an outstanding job. But we know he balanced the budget this year on stimulus money, which sometime, either year one or year two, will not be here for the next governor. And the gap was tremendous on the difference in our revenue stream versus the stimulus money. How will you navigate through that?
Let me tell you what Governor Bredesen did. And I am a major fan of Governor Bredesen. Now, I don't agree with him on everything, but overall, I think he's been a very responsible, good governor for the state of Tennessee. Governor Bredesen took that stimulus money and he used it in non-reoccurring expenses. And let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. There was a need for, and I know I'm going back to my roots here when I talk about Jackson State, but Jackson State's community college in Jackson, Tennessee, there was a need for a heating and air conditioning unit in several of the plants there, some roofing materials. He used the stimulus money to fund those kind of projects, non-reoccurring expenses. He has not used that stimulus money for reoccurring expenses. It is not in, for example, teachers' pay, which would be a reoccurring expense. In general, so the next governor, which is what I plan to be, will have those reoccurring expenses and reoccurring revenue matched up. I think he's been very responsible in the way he has used the stimulus money. I think he's going to have an incredibly tough budget this year. There's no question about it. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're very fortunate to have Governor Bredesen in office this year